So I wanted to cover the topic of astrology and my perspective on how astrology works. Now, I've been doing little shorts that will pop up that kind of illustrate the different concepts that I'm going to explain. But I thought that a long form video as a traveler's notes would probably be the best. And this is my dog Bandit. He decided to become part of the video. Anyway, what happens is in astrology, there's two different perspectives you can have. You can dismiss it outright. I did for years and years. It's okay not to believe in astrology. I totally understand that. We have two different perspectives that we tend to believe in this world. One is that we're forging our reality out of a chaotic universe that has absolutely no rhyme or reason, that the Creator allowed for this chaos so that we could be individualized. Or if people don't believe any form of purpose exists, they believe that it doesn't matter what happens, it's just chaos and you only live once, right? Then there is the belief that there is a divine order, a natural law, and that everything happens for a reason. That there is no coincidence, even though that means coinciding, and that's it. But that it's not random chaos and random chances that lead to synchronicities. That there's a purpose behind why certain things happen, like people seeing 11:11, that being the most common synchronicity. But Carl Jung is the one who actually came up with and popularized the term synchronicity. And that was because he was in a session with a woman who described a dream about a scarab beetle. And the scarab beetle happened to appear at the window and be knocking at the window trying to come in. And that was a synchronicity that Carl Jung described. And that is the one that you learn about when you are taking psychology classes. So synchronicity is a psychological concept. And it's even taught in psychology classes. Why or how it happens is not explained. It's just explained that that was something that Carl Jung taught and used in his practice to help people. Now, why do I bring up synchronicity? Well, synchronicity may come about because of self-fulfilling prophecies, which is another concept in psychology, where if you hold a certain belief, your mind will create opportunities to reinforce that belief. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to recognize your beliefs and go through them, sorting through to see what serves you and what does not serve you. Because the beliefs that do not serve you are going to create a reality that you're not happy with. And beliefs that do serve you are going to help you create a reality that you are happy with. In some ways, it is a this and that situation in creation, in reality. As far as I'm concerned, in my personal philosophy, these are ideas and concepts that have brought me happiness. Now back to astrology. I'm going into a lot of the material that I covered in my book, The Purpose of Life, a Scientific and Magical Guide to the Age of Aquarius. If you want to read my entire personal philosophy, I wrote it in a book because it was so long. And aside from reading that on here, I think that little tidbits will work, and I don't want to give the entire book away. I wrote a book for a reason, so that you can read it in one condensed place. But in astrology, which I did not believe in, we are given a system that if you choose to believe that there is a creator and that there is a divine order or a natural law, created the planets for a reason and allowed us to be aware of the planets for a reason. And it is kind of a co-creation that has led to further planets than the original 7. And the original meaning of the word planets was wanderers. So the sun and moon are included in the planets, even though modern science has given them their own categories. But we are influenced by those, and they are subtle influences that act upon our subconscious and on the collective consciousness. They're like timers, mechanical timers almost, that the Creator put in place so that certain situations and influences would happen on the earth. Now, no matter what you think created this reality, if there is an ultimate consciousness from which all life comes, then it's possible that we are the product of that great consciousness. And that overwhelming structure, whether this was created by a demiurge or something above it, exists even within our reality, and that our neck of the woods of reality was created based on that system. If you've never heard of the demiurge, it's something that the Gnostics believe in, that it's a lesser god, more or less. It created physical material reality, and that there was an error in the process. And there's many different beliefs around the world, including the Dogon, that are in agreement with that. In some cases, in the North American traditions, this is coyote. In the Dogon tradition, it is the white fox. So, who has a similar character to coyote. But whether it was a demiurge that made our neck of the woods that fell, as consciousness fell, and it would be the subconscious, according to my recent discoveries in alchemy based on fixation. You can watch that video as well. It's posting the day that I'm actually making this video. But astrology would basically prove that there is predestination to some degree. Now, when a transit happens, like Mercury retrograde, where communication breaks down and technology tends to break down, and things go wrong, there's usually some sort of secret clause in a contract or something. In those situations, there is the question if this is self-fulfilling prophecy because the collective believes in this, or is it actually the influence of the planet going retrograde? Now, personally, I believe that if the collective consciousness believed in something for a certain period of time, there is a critical mass reached, and there is an effect on the entire collective. So, for example, when it comes to stones, crystals, and minerals, because so many believe in their power, and this has been a long-standing belief for a very long time through many cultures into ancient antiquity, that they do act as archetypes. And the different types of stones act as archetypes. Whenever there is a subtle agreement on subconscious ideas, they become active in the collective unconscious and become archetypes. And we can work with those archetypes, like the alchemical archetypes, to learn more about ourselves and bring more of our subconscious into our conscious. Once you are aware of an active archetype, you actually dissolve its influence over you. So being aware of the meaning of a Mercury retrograde, understanding that certain things happen during that time, and accepting them and working with the energy, understanding that it is in a way a preordained or predestined time of turning within to review, rewrite, all the RE words that you can think of, whatever you've been doing in your life, that it's, and working with the one creator to do that, you actually learn that you actually learn more about yourself, and you are working with a higher power. You are acknowledging that higher power, you are acknowledging the subconscious, and you are working with it instead of against it. Now, when I post this, it should be about the time that Venus will be going retrograde. And when Venus goes retrograde, it's a time of introspection as well, but it's a heartfelt introspection. It's a time where you go within and you grow within. Venus in the Inanna underworld story goes through a whole process where she effectively grows up. It's a story of becoming mature in the Sumerian myths. So, the Inanna concept and story is an archetype that's alive and well in the collective unconscious, just like any other story, such as The Little Mermaid or Pinocchio. These are archetypes. When you become aware of them on a conscious level and understand their power on a conscious level, you can diffuse their power over you. So knowing that relationships will be a little bit slowed down when it comes to the Venus retrograde, you can go, okay, I know that there's going to be a time within my relationships where things aren't going to be all hot and heavy and fast-paced. It's going to be a time for me to focus on myself. And then you choose to focus on yourself. You choose to do kind things to yourself. You do be kind, with your words. Be kind with how you treat yourself. More often than not, in the Western world, in the United States where I live, people are brutally hard on themselves if they don't hit their goals and their personal aspirations. They take it as personal failure if they don't achieve things. And during retrogrades, the point isn't achievement. The point is introspection. It's not an outward force, it's an inward force. And we are being compelled to go inward whether we like it or not. Now, if we resist it, if we are not aware of it and it's acting on our subconscious and we resist it, then we're going to have a hard time with the energy. The introspection will come because there's a breakup instead of because you've decided to, not be so intense in your relationship. Or the introspection will come because there's an argument in the relationship. Those kind of things can be avoided if you're aware of the energy, but they will be stimulated and activated if you're not aware of the energy. And so that is the key to astrology. Once you're aware of the energy and what the energy means, you can react to it in whatever way you wish. You can be grabbed by it if you want, if it's something that sounds exciting and you want to experience that. Your soul wants to experience that, you can be grabbed by the planets. They're called grahas, I think, in Vedic astrology, and that means grabbers. And so you can be grabbed and, the energy can use you instead of you using the energy. But if you choose to be aware, if you choose to believe that it is a combination of predestination and free will, that there is a divine plan and divine order, that nothing happens by coincidence, nothing is really chaotic, that the overwhelming symmetry of nature and natural order, not only is it going to be triumphant over any order that mankind makes, but it basically creates a dance throughout the cosmos that we use to work with the energy of the present moment. And the planets are simply representatives of that energy at the current moment. Because, as they say in the Jewish Kabbalah, we can't see God directly. We can only see his backside. So there are elements that we can use to tune in and tap into that collective consciousness, which is an aspect of the one creator. That's my preferred term. You can use God or all that is or source, whatever you want. You can substitute that in. But we can tap into the one creator's energy and the collective consciousness and know what is going on and why. Then we can make a conscious decision on how we want to react to that energy, how we want to react to that divine plan. Do we want to resist it or do we want to flow with it? Personally, I align myself daily with the one creator. I pay attention to astrology to see what the astrology is like, to know what way to react. Now, in difficult energy, that means that I expect difficult things to happen. Again, is it the self-fulfilling prophecy or is it predestination? I can't truly know. It's only my belief that says it's predestination. But it's a belief that serves me. Because then when things happen and things go south, I just shrug it off going, that's the energy of now. It's not me. It's not the other people involved in the situation. It's just the energy of right now. And that's just what's been put on my plate. And I just accept it as something that was given by the one creator for my own personal development. And when you go through life believing that, it transforms your perspective, because then you are now working in a relationship with the one creator instead of forcing your will upon a chaotic universe that is unforgiving and scary. It changes the game to think this way. It changes the way that you view reality. Reality becomes something that you're a participant in instead of something that happens to you. A lot of people walk around subconsciously and they wonder, why did this or that happen to them? They're not trying to manifest their reality. They're just constantly reacting to the reality around them. And they can't ever really seem to catch up. And that's because they're not paying attention to the bigger picture, I suppose you could say, in my personal belief. When you pay attention to the bigger picture, when you're tuned into the collective consciousness, into the one creator through the subconscious, then you can sense where things are going. You're not surprised by things because you know the energy is most conducive to a particular outcome. Now, sometimes it's not as extreme as we think. Humans tend to leap to large conclusions, but sometimes it is. And so it's knowing the possibilities and working with the energy with the hopes that it will be as minor as possible, but also knowing that it could be extreme influences on your life. Either way, when you work with astrology, the option is there to tap into that consciousness, to tap into the divine will and know just a little bit of what that divine will is saying based on the eons of astrologers who have come before and what they've learned and what you will learn by working with the transits. And that is why I work with astrology. It's my way of aligning my will with the one creator's to understand that there is a divine order, that there is, in a way, predestination, but I have free will to make choices along that predestination, that there is a divine will and a divine plan. And again, that is a matter of faith and belief, and it benefits me to believe in that. There are people out there that it does not benefit them to believe in it for one reason or another. They prefer to believe that rocks are just unconsciousness, that blades of grass are barely conscious, and that the planets are just rocks hurtling through space in perfect symmetry for random reasons based on chaos. Those are the belief systems that some people have, and the latter is the prevalent one, that everything is random symmetry, and that is just somehow exists within chaos because it's an extremely low chance event happened and human life exists on planet Earth. There are centuries and monumental minds that have said otherwise. Every system of 7 that I have studied is in agreement that it is more predestination with a mix of free will. Same with the out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, and past life regressions, and in-between life regressions books that I've read. All of those are in agreement that it is a bit of predestination mixed with free will that gives rise to our reality. And the true, underlying purpose that we have, I wouldn't say it's the true purpose, but the underlying purpose that all people have is that we are all here to individuate. That's why we come to the Earth School. And that is the summary of Carl Jung's work, is individuation. It's not the purpose of all life everywhere, but it does seem to be the purpose of life here on Earth. And that individuation occurs whether you have negative experiences or positive experiences. It's just that you have experiences that make you different and unique from other souls. But if you want to learn more about that entire theory, you can read about that in my book. That's why I called it The Purpose of Life. Because far too often I see people say that they are searching for their purpose, that they have to have a particular job or a particular reality in order to find satisfaction, when really it's the opposite way around, or at least it has been for me. As soon as I found happiness, everything else fell into place, and things have manifested in a way that I never imagined. But I do believe in predestination. I believe my soul set this entire thing in motion with the possible outcome that I am at now, and that I chose to willingly go with that possible outcome. And that possible outcome is outlined by the astrological chart that I chose with the energies that I chose to come into this avatar with. So, all that being said, that's my perspective on astrology. That's why I believe in astrology. I've seen predictions come correct, and I've seen oracle predictions come correct. Now, oracles are different things, and I am going to do a video about oracles and why those work with the subconscious and how that's more of a dialogue with your subconscious than a tapping into the divine order that it is with astrology. But that's all I wanted to share today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining me to hear my personal beliefs. Again, you don't have to believe them. It's just ideas that I have found beneficial, and I'm sharing with you because they may benefit you as well. It's up to you. You always have a choice. I'm not one to believe that anybody else should tell you what you should believe. Anyways, bye for now.